my channel. If you're new here, my name is Allison. I'm 29 years old and I post a lot of content about personal finances, my own debt payoff journey, and how I balance my life and my finances. If any of that is interesting to you, like and subscribe, follow along, and we'll get into today's video. As always, every 2 weeks, I sit down and go through how I budget my paycheck with you guys. This is the paycheck for December 13th. And I get paid bi-weekly, so every other Friday. This will be the money that I budget for the next 2 weeks. A little bit more about my background and what I do for work. I am a radiation therapist, so I work at a cancer center. I am an hourly employee, so my pay does range just slightly, but I usually know kind of exactly what I'm going to be paid. I think that's pretty much the gist of it. So my paycheck was $2,308, and then I had $43 carry over from my last paycheck. So usually what I do is kind of add that together, and then that's the number that I have to budget with. So roughly $2,350 is the amount that I have to budget with for the next 2 weeks. Before we get into the numbers, I will say this paycheck is just a little bit different than some of my other ones, and it's because I decided for just the month of December, I'm allocating things a little bit differently to prioritize just like making sure for the new year my credit card is at 0 and I don't owe anything on any debt that I have besides my car loan. So I did cut back in certain areas, mainly just one, so that I can focus on that and like start the new year totally fresh, ready to go, and reach my financial goals for 2025. With that being said, the first thing that I did, which I do every single paycheck, is save for my rent. I break it up between the two paychecks just so that I'm not taking out such a large chunk from one paycheck. If I have to switch that in the new year, I will, but it works well for me now doing it that way. To split up some of my other bills, it works out better splitting it. So my rent is $850. That's our total rent. I pay the rent and my husband pays some of the other bills. We're very grateful that that is our rent and we have such a low monthly expense for that. So I pay the rent, but I split it up between $400 and then $450. So from this paycheck, I saved $400, and then next paycheck will be $450, and then I'll pay that on January 1st. So that's how I do the rent, and it's been working out for me for like years now. So the next thing is sort of what I changed a little bit. I used to put $50 into my emergency fund every single paycheck. I decided to move that into a different category so that I could pay things off instead of putting it into my savings, which I feel like is fine because at the end of the month, me putting $50 from each paycheck in there is only $100, which I know makes the difference. But again, I'd rather set myself up to be able to put even more in there in January and the following months and just leave the negativity and the bad vibes behind and make sure I have all of my payments in order. I didn't put anything into my emergency fund from this paycheck, which is totally fine. And then into our joint savings account, which I have with my husband, that we are mainly using to save for a down payment on a house. I did put $100 into that account. We both put money in there every single paycheck. Yeah, just kind of let it sit there. That sits in a high yield savings account so that it is getting some interest while it is sitting there. I haven't been mentioning this lately in any of my videos, but I thought I would kind of bring it back because I do plan on contributing again in 2025, but I did pause my Roth IRA payments for the last few months, and that was just to really be like aggressively paying off my credit card, and now it's super low, pretty much paid off, but Christmas time got a little crazy and you know, things happen. Again, I thought I was gonna maybe put something towards my Roth IRA this month, but I was like, you know what, just wait till January, start the new year, and then just again make sure I have everything in order through December for a few reasons. If you are new here and haven't seen some of my previous videos, in January I am cutting back on my hours at my job, not for any other reason than for my mental health and the fact that I drive an hour each way to work, and it's becoming a lot, and I have no like work-life balance with that. So I cut back on my hours simply just for my mental health and like enjoying life a little bit more. So I'm trying to get everything in order by the end of this month so that when we go into January and I'm making a little bit less money, I'm set and I'm not in a situation where I can't afford things or, you know, pay off things or whatever. We are working towards that, and it looks like we're gonna be right on track after my next paycheck, so that is fantastic. Circle back, the point of that was I didn't put anything to my Roth IRA, but starting in January I do plan on contributing to that again. For groceries, I did put $125 into our separate grocery account. We do this every single paycheck. Both of us just automatically put money in there, and we use that specifically for groceries or like paper products, cleaning products, things for around the house, and that's been working fantastic. Next, I made a payment of $200 towards my car loan, and I am trying to pay that off faster. I definitely already put more towards it this year than I needed to, which is great. So no matter what, I am gonna pay it off faster. I just don't know. I don't totally know what the plan is for the car loan. Like, I originally wanted to be aggressive with this next because it's my last consumer debt. At the same time, I might not be able to as much if I'm making a little bit less money. And then we also are saving to buy a house. And again, I say this in most of my paycheck breakdown videos, I don't think having a car loan is bad. I needed a reliable car for my work. Obviously, I drive a lot. I needed a car that was gonna get me to and from. I have a car that's gonna last me a long time. It's a Honda, it's reliable, it does the trick, but at the same time, I will always stand by this. Like, I think it's okay to want to buy a house when you still have a car loan or even student loans, because sometimes like there's no reason to like put your life completely on hold to like pay off your car loan, because that could take me 2 years. Whereas the housing market might also rise, it might fall, it might do whatever, but there's no right time to like do anything, and sometimes like things happen. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm kind of blabbering on, if that makes any sense, but like I'm a true believer that like there needs to be some kind of balance, and it's not the end of the world to like have some kind of loan. Anyway, again, back to what I was saying. I did put $200 towards the car loan. I technically only owed left on this like statement $132, so the extra $67 went right to the principal. Then the next thing is my subscriptions. So, you know, every time I get paid, I look at the next 2 weeks and see what subscriptions are going to be coming out. And I have 4 during this pay period. So I have Planet Fitness, which is $10, my Blink subscription, which is a little camera system that we have, that is $10.60. Amazon Prime is $15.89, and then Spotify is $5.99. So total is about $43 for subscriptions. Oh, then I also had to make a payment towards my Apple card. I did actually also have my CapCut Pro subscription, and then that $2.99 Apple cloud fee that went onto my Apple card. So I just paid that off, and that was $28. Then I budget for my cats. I have 2 cats, and every couple weeks I get food and cat litter delivered, and that comes to $81 for this pay period. Like, next is where it kind of is a little bit different, and like back to what I was saying, where I'm trying to just get everything in order before the end of the year. I made a very large payment towards my like medical coding course payment plan that I chose. So again, if you're new here, a couple months ago I decided that I wanted to take a medical coding course through AAPC, and I passed my exam, which was great. I took that maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point. When I signed up though, the course and everything that comes with it, which included like 3 practice exams, and then you got 2 attempts at taking the test, which is like $400 each. Oh, and the books. To get the whole bundle was about $3,000, which I don't know. I don't know if it was a mistake or not. Obviously, I don't know if I'm gonna use that certificate or not. I still think it is a good option to have, but I do kind of maybe wish that I had waited a little, I guess, because I probably wasn't in the best spot to pay $3,000 for this course. But I did a payment plan with 0% interest, so it was through like a firm, and I just was making payments monthly, but I was paying more than the monthly payment, so again, I could pay it off faster. Did make a payment of $650 to, you know, take a good chunk of that and pay it down so that next paycheck I will have it completely paid off and again just be like done with that moving into the new year. That was like the bulk of where my money went this paycheck. I think the rest that I owe is $335, so I will pay for that out of my next paycheck. And then the very last thing was I put $350 towards my credit card. And again, this is where I feel like I could have done better this month. I obviously have been working hard to pay off my credit card debt and try to learn how to use the credit card more responsibly, which I definitely have, but it's so hard around the holidays and just especially like things like Black Friday and everyone's having sales, and I get really caught up in those things. That's where I got myself in a little bit of trouble this month. I'm always like a few steps ahead of everything, and I usually know like I will have this paid off in the next paycheck. It still would be nice to not be paying anything towards my credit card. That is the goal in 2025. So back to the actual like numbers, I did put $350 towards my credit card to pay off some of the stuff that I had been putting onto there, but basically the goal is to not have to put anything from my paycheck. Like obviously that was stuff that I've purchased before and now I had to use the next paycheck to pay it off. Whereas what I should be doing is like whatever money I have left over, I should just be paying off. If I make say I buy a sweater for like $20 during the next 2 weeks, I should be able to pay that off. If I want to use my credit card, that's fine. I just have to be able to pay it off like immediately and have the actual money to buy it at that moment. That is the plan. So that way I'm not, every single paycheck, I'm not like $350 is going towards my credit card or $100 or whatever. That money can go towards savings or investments or whatever, or my car. Those are the numbers. And then I'm gonna show you quickly here my actual like monthly budget template. I use the template by Coplenty. I love it. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I use this every single month. I track every single thing that I spend, and this makes it so easy. I think I've been using it since July pretty consistently, and it's been great so far. I do feel like it's genuinely helped me with my budget. Helps me monthly keep track of stuff, but also then like if I can see what I budgeted for like coffee, say I budgeted $50, I know that like for my 2 paychecks, I can budget like $25 from each paycheck. So that's how it helps me like with my actual bi-weekly paychecks. But it even has like all the savings and then any bills that come out. So like I made a payment on 12/13 of $200 towards my car, and then it will update up here. This is what I wanted to budget for the whole month towards my car, and then this is what I've actually paid so far as of like right now. So this is pretty cool because then all the numbers kind of add up, and then you can see up here how much you've spent, how much you have left to spend, how much you have to budget. So this is a very helpful tool. I highly suggest tracking, like no matter what, whether or not you use a digital planner or tracker or just pen and paper, I do highly recommend tracking your finances of some sort if you are trying to be better with money, or just like if you're trying to save for something, if you're trying to pay off debt. The first step is just tracking everything. It doesn't even have to be perfect the first time. Like you're gonna have a better idea of where your money's going, how much money's coming in, what's going out, where you're overspending, where you can do better and improve on. So I do highly suggest tracking of some sort. If you do want to purchase any of the Coplenty budget trackers, I do have a code with them. It is Allison M10, and you'll get 10% off your order. This video is not sponsored by them, but I do have a discount code with them, and I will have it linked down below as well. Definitely check it out if you are interested in starting to track your finances. Back to the budget. If you add all of that up, it does come to $1,977, and then I'll subtract that from the number I mentioned in the beginning, which was $2,350. So that leaves me with $374 for the next 2 weeks, and I'm budgeting roughly $180 of that for gas because we are traveling to New Hampshire next weekend, which is where my family's from, and we're visiting for Christmas for a few days, and that will take some extra gas. And I also already drive like 10 hours for work every single week. So I do budget a lot for gas, which is another reason why I feel like cutting back on my hours is helpful. It's obviously not saving me as much as I would be making if like working less. I'm saving like 1 tank of gas a week, which I would make more working. But in the grand scheme, I am saving money by doing that. I'm saving wear and tear on the car, saving mileage, all that kind of stuff with the car. And I am gonna make a separate video on like how I'm making that work and like why I chose to do that, and you know, how financially that is gonna work for me and my husband. Someone suggested doing a video like that, and I feel like that is a very interesting video topic, so I am gonna do a video on that. So I will go into more depth on some of the logistics of why I made the decision and like what, you know, the pros and cons of each. So stay tuned for that. That is coming soon. If you subtract the $180 for gas from what I have left over, that really leaves me with $194 for the next 2 weeks for anything else that might come up, like coffee or eating out, shopping. So I try to leave myself with at least a little bit of money for things like that, because I know myself and I know that I need a little bit of wiggle room with things like that, because if you kind of cut yourself off cold turkey, I just don't think that that is sustainable, especially for someone if you do have a history of like overspending. It's not easy just like cutting everything out. I feel like you still need to live your life and enjoy things and have balance. Again, I'm really big on having some kind of balance, but at the same time, and what I need to do this as well, because this is where I struggle, is actually legitimately stick to only spending $194 the next 2 weeks. And if I don't have the money, I can't buy it. Or start like saving money from this to like save up for something that I do really want if I can't stop thinking about it and being like, I really need to buy this and I can't afford it. I'll have to save up for it. That is the general plan for me, and like kind of a sneak peek into what 2025 is gonna look like for my budget. That is my paycheck breakdown for this paycheck. I hope that was interesting. I always find these really fun and I enjoy filming these. As always, I will kind of just quickly do like a car debt update. I used to do like a full debt update, but the only debt that I have right now is my car. After the $200 payment that I made today, my car loan is at $14,387. Hopefully, I don't know, I have a good feeling about this next year as far as like extra income and like side hustles and social media. I really do feel like hopefully I can make some extra money and income that way. Like this year's just been a little bit crazy because of my debt situation, where like a lot of my social media money at the time was going towards debt because that was my main focus, whereas now that extra money can, well, it could still go towards debt because my car is debt, but it could also, I could split it up, put half towards the car, half towards savings. I could put some towards retirement because it is like technically a job and an income. So that is where like I feel like this year is going to be fun and interesting. You know, I started out the year, the focus was my student loans. Then as we got closer, my focus was the wedding. And then it moved towards credit card debt. And then, I mean, technically my thought process was then move towards the car, but I'm feeling a little bit less pressure to try to pay that off as quickly as I can. Oh, and at the beginning of the year, I also was still paying for, up until May or June, I was still paying for my master's degree as well. And then basically as soon as that was done, I was paying for this certificate that I got. So I just have had so many things going on, and I want to take a step back and just not have that many things going on and not take on any of these extra expenses, except we are maybe planning on buying a house. So disregard maybe just what I said, but it's fine. I do truly believe that everything does happen for a reason. So whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, and I am excited for this year to see what kind of unfolds. I do really hope that TikTok does not get banned, because I do make money from TikTok and that would be really sad. So we shall see with that. I'm really interested to see what's gonna happen, because that, as of right now, that is my biggest source of income from social media. That might just make me focus on my YouTube a little bit more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys soon for my next video.